Saoirse Gaibh Macharja, agus Machamraja, is Misha an Punk Finian Jarrig. Greetings, my friend. I'm the man known as Red Finian Punk. I'm just here to say a quick greetings for May Day, because it's the 1st of May. It is International Workers' Day, as well as the Feast of Beltane. I say Beltane, please don't call it Beltane. Stop butchering our language, will you? Anyway, International Workers' Day is important to commemorate because we need to celebrate and we need to acknowledge the fact that we're being fucked over by a bunch of parasitic psychopaths known as the bourgeoisie. The capitalist classes have fucked over millions and caused the deaths of caused devastation and destruction and countless deaths that I can't even go into it right now. Now, the problem is in first world countries we tend to fetishize failed revolutions. I think this is a big mistake. We should stop doing it. Yes, the Spanish Civil War is something we need to commemorate. So is the Paris Commune, but we don't fetishize them because they lost, they failed. How about we start celebrating the actual successful revolutions that happened throughout the 20th century, for example? I mean, the Bolshevik Revolution took the former crumbling Russian Empire from a backward agrarian society with 90% illiteracy into a country with absolute universal literacy, universal healthcare, and universal education, all free. Unlike the British Empire, which created its National Health Service by plundering countries like Malaysia and Kenya. So much for socialism in Britain, eh? It's not really socialist at all, that's social democracy. But anyway, let's not get into that. I'm not going to be sectarian. Let's look at Vietnam. They successfully got rid of the French colonialist oppression for however many decades that went on for. They also fought back successfully against the monumental, vicious assault by the United States. Finally defeating them in 1975, they've successfully managed to survive, including through various economic recessions, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and even now with the coronavirus devastating the world, Vietnam has successfully fought back against this. Let's look at Cuba. They fought back against the Batista regime, which was backed by the CIA. They've been continuing to just survive at the very least and thrive quite well despite relentless blockades by the US imperialism to the north. And they've also fought back quite successfully against coronavirus. Unlike the US and unlike the EU and the UK and various other imperial powers, which sends drones, bombers and soldiers in to massacre civilians and take away all the resources from other countries, Cuba sends in doctors to help people. It doesn't go around slaughtering people in the name of its government, contrary to what the Americans will tell you. American people who suffer under imperialism, under the capitalist system as well, have no universal health care, and they're living in a crime-ridden fucking zone full of, the poverty there is on a par with the third world in some cases. So much for successful capitalism. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to start getting into sectarian bitchiness about who's had the, what's a real socialist and what isn't, whether China's really socialist or whether it isn't. I will say this about China. They've also successfully fought back against coronavirus, so I'll give them that. Whether they're socialist or not is another story. Now, I'm going to support all revolutionaries against global capitalism. I'll say solidarity is all, support to everyone he is, support to LGBTQ people, support to people of colour, support to women in their fight back against patriarchy. Now, it's also I'm also going to support fights against colonialism. Now, here I have as a member of the Irish diaspora, I'll give to you here the Morrigan, my gorgeous statue of this equally gorgeous goddess. She is, amongst other things, the goddess of war. I like to use her as a kind of reclaiming my heritage against the colonisation of the British Empire. I've grown up in England all my life in the Irish diaspora. How about we use people like the Morrigan as instead of goddesses of just mindless warfare, we make her into goddesses of liberation. A war, instead of a war of aggression and a war of imperialism, about the war of liberation and a war of fighting back against the parasitic ruling class. Maybe that's something to think about. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling on now. I tend to trip over my words, so bear with me. Excuse me for that. I am autistic and I do have attention deficit disorder. So what I'll say, solidarity and a red salute to everyone fighting back against capitalism. Let's fucking destroy it before it destroys us. Solidarity and support to all. Slán go fóill agus go naidí an bóthar libh go léir. I'll leave you with the Morrigan.